Hello everyone. Bonjour à tous. Ok, great. Est-ce qu'on voit bien mon écran? Nivendi, can you see my screen?
Yes, yeah, we can see.
Ok, great. Alors bonjour à tous. Je suis ravie de vous accueillir aujourd'hui pour ce webinaire qui est intitulé Comprendre l'EbA dans l'océan Indien. Quels enseignements pour les entreprises? Donc ce webinaire, il est organisé par Cap Business Océan Indien dans le cadre du projet CEPF, qui s'appelle Strengthening Private Sector Engagement in Ecosystem-Based Adaptation. Donc renforcer l'engagement du secteur privé dans l'EBA. Donc on expliquera par la suite un peu mieux ce que c'est que l'EBA. Merci à vous tous d'être présents aujourd'hui, donc en ligne depuis les Comores, Madagascar, Maurice, Seychelles et même au-delà. Donc ce moment aujourd'hui marque vraiment une étape importante dans notre projet. Donc je suis très heureuse que ça arrive, puisque le but c'est de vraiment mieux intégrer la nature et les solutions fondées sur les écosystèmes dans les stratégies économiques du secteur privé. Et donc là, on se lance vraiment dans le cadre du projet CEPF là-dedans. Donc ce webinaire, c'est l'occasion de partager les résultats d'une étude régionale, donc un Regional Assessment, qui a été conduit dans 4 territoires, donc Comores, Maurice, Madagascar et Seychelles, sur les pratiques EBA déjà en place, les leviers d'action, les obstacles rencontrés et les perspectives d'engagement pour les entreprises. Donc aujourd'hui, on va s'adresser à toutes les parties prenantes, donc autant les entreprises que les chambres de commerce et d'industrie, mais aussi les acteurs publics, les experts, les ONG. C'est vraiment un webinaire qui se veut ouvert et l'objectif, c'est de donner des clés de lecture sur ce que signifie réellement l'EBA dans notre région, en quoi ça concerne le secteur privé et surtout comment ça peut devenir un réel levier de résilience économique face aux enjeux climatiques, pardon. Donc, on va avoir le plaisir aujourd'hui d'écouter les deux chercheuses qui ont mené l'étude, ainsi que des entreprises pionnières qui viendront partager leur retour d'expérience. Donc, n'hésitez pas à poser vos questions dans le chat, que ce soit à nos chercheuses ou aux entreprises qui vont intervenir, que je présenterai bien sûr après. Les slides, donc le diaporama sera partagé à la fin du webinaire et on va un peu jongler entre l'anglais et le français durant ce webinaire. Donc n'hésitez pas à prendre la parole dans la langue que vous préférez. Donc même si normalement on est un peu tous bilingues, je suis plus à l'aise en français. Donc j'ai décidé de parler en français, mais pas de souci pour parler en anglais. Alors, avant de commencer, je vais faire un rapide aperçu du déroulé du webinaire. Donc d'abord, je vais prendre une dizaine de minutes pour vous présenter Cap Business Océan Indien, notre feuille de route régionale, ainsi que le projet sur l'adaptation fondée sur les écosystèmes qu'on a porté pardon, avec le soutien du Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund, donc CEPF. Ensuite, on va expliquer en quoi l'étude régionale, donc le Regional Assessment, s'insère dans cette démarche, dans ce projet-là. Et ensuite, je laisserai la parole à Neeve Pariag-Maraye et au docteur Lee Roberts, donc, qui sont toutes les deux enseignantes-chercheuses à l'université de Dundee et qui vont nous présenter les résultats de cette étude. Donc leur présentation va durer environ 30 minutes et on aura ensuite un premier temps de questions-réponses qui durera 15 minutes. Et ensuite, en deuxième partie, on va avoir le plaisir et la chance d'écouter le témoignage du Constance Hospitality Group, donc qui est un acteur régional dans le tourisme important et qui est déjà engagé dans la protection des écosystèmes. Donc on va avoir trois on va avoir la chance d'avoir 3 intervenants qui vont nous partager leur retour d'expérience. Donc, Javid Farid, Marcus Ulch Unrat et Vinita Singhani. Voilà, et enfin, on va avoir une dernière, session de questions-réponses suite à leur intervention qui va nous permettre de prolonger, les échanges avant la clôture du webinaire. Donc, bah, c'est parti, je débute avec une présentation de Cap Business Océan Indien. Alors, qui sommes-nous? Cap Business Océan Indien, c'est une organisation régionale, qui joue un rôle vraiment central dans la dynamique économique de l'océan Indien. Donc, c'est, une association qui a été, créée en 2005 et qui regroupe les chambres de commerce et d'industrie, ainsi que les organisations professionnelles, issues des 6 territoires insulaires de l'ouest de l'océan Indien. Donc, les Comores, Madagascar, Maurice, Mayotte, la Réunion et les Seychelles. Donc, cette union des chambres de commerce et d'industrie de l'océan Indien, c'est actuellement, la voix collective du secteur privé, régional. Et donc on a, plusieurs entreprises, donc plus de 20 000 entreprises qu'on touche à travers la zone. Et notre mission principale, c'est de faciliter la coopération économique régionale et de porter aussi des positions communes, sur des enjeux stratégiques qui touchent à nos territoires. Donc, à propos de la transition écologique, du changement climatique, de la connectivité régionale, de la résilience des filières, au niveau, économique. Donc, Cap Business, c'est aussi un facilitateur de dialogue. Ça, c'est vraiment quelque chose qui est important pour nous, entre le secteur public, le secteur privé et en collaborant aussi avec, des partenaires internationaux. Donc, par exemple, l'Agence française, de développement, l'AFD, l'Union européenne, l'Organisation internationale de la francophonie ou encore la Commission de l'océan Indien, donc, qui font partie de nos partenaires. Toutes nos actions sont conduites en lien étroit avec nos membres et on veille à ce qu'il y ait un esprit de complémentarité, et de subsidiarité pour que chaque territoire puisse aussi conserver sa singularité, hem et même si on avance, collectivement. Voilà. Alors notre feuille de route. Donc en 2021, Cap Business a adopté une feuille de route, stratégique, pour, 2021 jusqu'à 2026 qui oriente l'ensemble de ses actions dans la région. Donc cette feuille de route repose sur 5 secteurs prioritaires qui ont été, identifiés. Donc les 5 secteurs prioritaires, c'est le tourisme durable, l'économie bleue, l'agriculture et les agro-industries, l'énergie et la construction et la connectivité, donc connectivité qu'elle soit maritime, aérienne ou numérique. Et donc c'est sur ces, 5 secteurs que, nous travaillons en priorité. En complément, on a 4 axes transversaux qui sont en toile de fond, en background, et qui irriguent toutes nos actions. Donc on a l'inclusion avec une attention, particulière portée à l'égalité homme-femme et à l'autonomisation des jeunes. L'économie, circulaire, la biodiversité dont on va parler, plus en détail, aujourd'hui et enfin les stratégies bas carbone, pour la résilience des entreprises. Alors donc nous, aujourd'hui, on va s'intéresser, plus particulièrement à notre axe transversal biodiversité, qui est, du coup majeur dans la feuille de route de Cap Business, Océan Indien. Donc, nos 6 territoires sont concernés, hein, Comores, Madagascar, Maurice, Mayotte, La Réunion et Seychelles et ces territoires, en fait, font partie d'un hotspot de biodiversité. Donc on a vraiment, une richesse exceptionnelle au niveau de nos habitats, nos espèces et aussi au niveau de notre vulnérabilité, malheureusement. Donc, ce qu'on veut montrer, c'est que la biodiversité, c'est pas simplement un patrimoine, naturel, bien que ce soit déjà pas mal, mais c'est aussi un actif économique majeur. Donc, la biodiversité, ça permet aussi de soutenir des emplois, des filières, agriculture, pêche, tourisme, cosmétiques, hein. Et aujourd'hui, en fait, les écosystèmes, ils sont fragilisés par le dérèglement climatique, par exemple. Et donc, c'est là que, entre, le rôle de Cap Business. Donc, notre but, c'est vraiment d'aider les entreprises à intégrer cette dimension dans leur stratégie, en les accompagnant vers des stratégies plus durables et en montrant que la nature, c'est aussi un levier d'adaptation. Donc on s'engage, chez Cap Business Océan Indien à valoriser les solutions fondées sur la nature et en accompagnant des approches, pour conserver et restaurer la biodiversité. C'est pourquoi, on a souhaité porter un projet, avec le soutien du Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund, donc CEPF, qui s'appelle «Renforcer l'engagement du secteur privé dans l'adaptation fondée sur les écosystèmes». Donc, en fait, on est parti de plusieurs constats. Donc, on a une forte vulnérabilité, climatique dans nos îles, mais bon, Nivi et Ellie en parleront, ensuite. Et la nature, c'est vraiment un levier d'adaptation, comme je le disais. Donc nous, on souhaite, utiliser les adaptations fondées sur les écosystèmes pour améliorer la résilience climatique, tout en s'appuyant sur les écosystèmes et en renforçant les capacités locales. Donc ça, c'est vraiment le but. Et ça va nous permettre, d'offrir beaucoup de co-bénéfices, donc de contribuer à la conservation de la biodiversité, à la gestion durable des ressources naturelles, à la sécurité alimentaire, au développement local, au bien-être social et donc, bien sûr, à l'attractivité économique des territoires. Donc c'est une approche qui est à la fois écologique, économique et inclusive et on va pouvoir, explorer tout ça aujourd'hui grâce à nos intervenants. Alors, notre projet, que l'on porte, renforcement de l'engagement du secteur privé dans l'adaptation fondée sur les écosystèmes, son objectif, il est double, c'est de favoriser la résilience climatique de nos économies en renforçant, les capacités au niveau de nos territoires et d'accompagner, les entreprises et les chambres de commerce à mieux intégrer l'EbA dans les stratégies, les outils et les projets. Donc ce projet, il est financé par un consortium international, donc CEPF, qui est une initiative conjointe de plusieurs, grands bailleurs, donc l'AFD, la Banque mondiale, l'Union européenne, le Fonds pour l'environnement mondial, Conservation internationale et le gouvernement du Japon. Donc la mission de ce consortium, c'est de protéger la biodiversité en soutenant les populations, qui en dépendent. Et donc sur ce projet, on est ciblé sur, 4 territoires donc, et non les 6 concernés par, Cap Business, plus généralement. Donc ce sont les Comores, Madagascar, l'île Maurice et les Seychelles. Au niveau des activités clés, on a, 3 grandes activités qui structurent ce projet. Donc une première étude, régionale sur l'EBA dans le secteur privé, donc c'est le Regional Assessment, et on est là aujourd'hui pour en discuter. Un programme de formation destiné aux entreprises et aux chambres de commerce pour, mieux comprendre, pour mieux s'outiller et pour mieux passer à l'action. Et enfin, la création d'un réseau sciences-entreprises qui va nous permettre de renforcer le dialogue entre les chercheurs, les institutions et les acteurs, économiques autour de ces enjeux-là. Alors, du coup, cette, première étude qui est une des 3 grandes, activités structurantes de notre projet, ça a été vraiment la 1re grande étape du projet. Puisqu'en fait, donc elle a été menée, entre fin 2024 et début 2025, en partenariat avec l'université de Dundee et sous le partenariat donc du docteur Lee Roberts et de Neeve Pariag-Maraye. Donc on va avoir le plaisir, d'entendre, dans un instant. Et donc on avait, 3 objectifs, c'était vraiment d'identifier les vulnérabilités, propres à chaque territoire, de cartographier, les pratiques EBA qui sont déjà, existantes, bien qu'elles soient pas encore nommées forcément comme, de l'EBA et surtout, analyser les freins, les leviers et les attentes, des entreprises pour mieux les accompagner dans leur transition. Donc, cette étude, elle s'appuie sur une méthodologie qui a été mixte, donc des entretiens qualitatifs, des questionnaires et une revue de la littérature, approfondie. Et donc aujourd'hui, c'est la première restitution publique de ces résultats qui vont constituer une vraie base, stratégique essentielle pour la suite du projet. Donc on va pouvoir, derrière concevoir des recommandations adaptées pour le secteur privé, bâtir des feuilles de route, voire des plans d'action et définir des synergies concrètes entre, les entreprises, les chercheurs et aussi les institutions. Donc pour nous, c'est vraiment un socle commun qui va nous permettre, de passer à une vraie compréhension, d'une vraie compréhension à de l'action, heu, pour intégrer ça dans le secteur privé. Alors, je me permets, de parler du mécanisme de plainte de CEPF. Donc, dans le cadre de ce projet, tout bénéficiaire, partenaire ou citoyen peut soumettre une plainte ou des préoccupations liées aux activités du projet, Donc, je vous ai mis le déroulé, donc soit par email à l'adresse email qui est ici. De toute façon, je vous enverrai le diaporama, donc vous pourrez récupérer tous ces éléments. Il y a aussi un formulaire en ligne. Si la réponse n'est pas satisfaisante, il est possible de contacter l'équipe de CEPF au niveau local par mail. Donc, c'est l'UICN qui gère à ce niveau-là. Là encore, si la réponse n'est pas adaptée, il est possible de contacter la hotline de conservation internationale via un portail sécurisé ou via un numéro de téléphone ou directement l'AFD ou le Fonds vert pour le climat. Alors, on va à présent entrer dans le cœur du sujet avec la présentation des résultats de cette étude. Donc c'est vraiment avec un grand plaisir, un véritable honneur que on accueille deux chercheuses qui ont piloté cette mission avec un très grand professionnalisme et une grande rigueur scientifique, et qui ont fait preuve vraiment d'une vraie capacité d'écoute des réalités de terrain, puisque beaucoup d'acteurs ont été interrogés. Donc le docteur Lee Roberts et Neeve Pariag-Maraye, donc qui sont toutes les deux enseignantes-chercheuses à l'université de Dundee. Et elles vont nous présenter l'analyse comparative des dynamiques de l'EbA dans le secteur privé, en s'appuyant, donc comme je vous l'ai dit, sur des entretiens et des enquêtes de terrain. Ensuite, on aura le plaisir de donner la parole à Javed Farid, Marcus Ulch Unrat et Vinita Singhani, donc du groupe Constance Hospitality, pour un retour d'expérience d'entreprise qui sera très concret et qui va illustrer comment des mesures EBA peuvent être mises en œuvre dans un contexte opérationnel, multisite et inter-île, donc gros programme. Donc c'est vraiment un honneur d'avoir tous ces intervenants. Donc un grand merci à vous pour votre disponibilité, votre engagement à nos côtés et puis pour les actions que vous menez. Donc Nivi, Ellie, j'arrête le partage et je vous donne la parole.
Thank you, Susanna. Thank you, everyone. So we're just going to share our slides now. Is it okay, Susanna?
Yes.
Okay. So great. Thank you very much, Susanna, for this introduction. And I would say good afternoon, everyone, or good morning. It's morning still for us here in the UK. And today's session, as Susanna highlighted, is just to share with you the findings from the step 1 of the CEPF funded project. And this step is about the regional assessment and the findings. So we want to, first of all, to thank everyone, all the participants who've contributed towards the survey, and also for everyone whom we've interviewed and who's so contributed towards sharing the insights about EBA. So again, coming back to what Susanna said, the regional assessment objective was mainly to assess, to evaluate the current status of EBA, ecosystem-based adaptation initiatives and projects across 4 islands of the Indian Ocean: Comores, Seychelles, Madagascar, and Mauritius. So the method used was was based twofold. The first one was we did an online survey, an online questionnaire was sent out to all the companies in French and English across the 4 islands. And this was followed after by interviews that we carried out. And the regional assessment, like we just said, is mostly to determine which company is doing what, how they are doing it, and where they are doing it. And this particular regional assessment has been in line with the support from the University of Dundee, but we would also like to thank Dr. Lydie Amelo, who's also contributed towards the data analysis for this particular project. So in terms of online survey, if we look at the numbers here, we find that 153 companies across the 4 islands were targeted. The response rate, as you can see in the third column here for Mauritius, Madagascar, Comores, and Seychelles, is quite low. Unfortunately, we only received 31 respondents out of the 153. And this, based on the low response rate, we then devised a set of questions for the interviews that followed. So in terms of interviews, the interviews were allowed us to capture a very rich insight with respect to each island across the Western Indian Ocean. So in terms of participants, we managed to do 23 interviews over the time periods mentioned earlier on. So for Mauritius, we did 11 interviews, Madagascar 6, Comoros 4, and Seychelles 2. So everything which is going to be presented today in terms of our findings are based on the survey and the interviews as well. So just a brief recap, when we talk about EBA as per the IUCN 2024 is the use of biodiversity and ecosystem services, which is going to help people adapt to the adverse effects of climate change. Climate change, which most islands are facing huge challenges recently. So if we look at the first question was really to have an understanding of the extent to which companies were aware of the concept of EBA. While biodiversity, nature-based solutions are the most common ones, EBA was something quite new. We were nicely surprised by the respondents, which was quite 50-50, which said that they knew about it, and the other half said they were not aware of that particular concept. And based on this response and overall survey and results, this highlights that there is a need for broader outreach and education, and to increase the level of awareness of EBA within the islands. Our second question was to look into the extent to which the companies believe that EBA was important to their business. And here again, most respondents were of the view that EBA was important, with many of you describing it as being extremely important. However, a small number considered it to be somewhat important and were neutral, while a notable group also indicated that they did not see EBA as important. What we found was a mix of strong support among the respondents, and this again highlighted the need to raise awareness among those which thought otherwise. Moving to question 3, how many companies actually implemented any EBA projects, we find that just over a third of the respondents reported that their company have actually implemented any kind of EBA projects. More than half said they have not, and a small portion were quite unsure about that. So this is actually showing us that while there is an interest and an uptake for EBA among companies, implementation remains limited. Operationalization remains limited. And again, we need to develop awareness across the various sectors. This one was, the next question was actually looking more specifically at the various EBA strategies. So we provided a list of EBA strategies and requested companies to actually show, to answer how many of them have they been involved in. What we found was the respondents reported quite a range of activities, including mangrove and reef protection and restoration, forest management, and flood control. So this came up as being the most common activities undertaken by companies. However, what was also found was the common response of uncertainty. And this suggested that many companies were unaware of specific EBA strategies. that were currently undertaken or not being undertaken by their company, and a lack of formal tracking of such initiatives. What is important from this question is we need to have in place a clearer internal communication strategy within the organization and better integration of EBA into the company practices. Moving to question 5, for those that actually engage into EBA, the question was about what was the objective, the primary objective of actually undertaking these EBA projects. And what we found was the most common objective identified was about biodiversity restoration, risk mitigation for many of the companies, which found that undertaking EBA initiatives were allowing them to mitigate some of the risks that they were facing, soil conservation and flood prevention. Other priorities also included promoting sustainable management, habitat protection, climate change adaptation, and improving livelihoods. However, many of you were quite unsure and non-selected leveraging natural function as an objective. So again, these results are suggesting that while many companies are actually engaging in EBA for tangible environmental and risk-related benefits, overall understanding of the EBA objectives remain mixed. The next question look at the key stakeholders involved with the companies in actually implementing EBA. Many respondents identified NGOs, other private companies, and local communities involved in the process of actually implementing EBA within the company. No respondents cited government agencies, and several indicated that no stakeholders were currently involved, suggesting variability in stakeholder engagement and potential gaps in coordinated EBA implementation. So the next question was a bit more financial in terms of budget allocation that companies were putting out for EBA initiatives. Most respondents here again were unsure what percentage of the environmental or sustainability budget was being allocated to EBA, indicating limited visibility and tracking on EBA spending. Others, among those who did respond, the majority said that no allocation or less than 10% of the budget was allocated to EBA project. No respondents reporting dedicating more than 25% to EBA initiatives. And this highlights that EBA currently represents a very small proportion of overall sustainability investment for most companies. The next question was touching the finance again, looking at how actually those companies engaging EBA projects were financing these EBA initiatives. Most companies revealed that they were actually internally funding these initiatives. A smaller number reported accessing any kind of international or government grant. And several respondents stated that the question was not applicable to their operations, while some indicated that the company does not currently finance any EBA project. Here, this is extremely important as it suggests that while some financing mechanisms are currently being used, EBA funding remains limited and inconsistent across companies. So based on that, our next question focused on the 3 key financial challenges that companies were actually facing with respect to funding EBA initiatives. What most companies said was that there were limited availability of funding, and they find that the upfront investment for EBA initiatives were too high. Some of the respondents even noted that there was a long payback period before you could actually see any kind of return from these investment on EBA initiatives. Some revealed that there was a lack of regulatory and policy guidelines in place. And many also talked about the lack of technical expertise as being a barrier to that. So what we are finding is that both financial and institutional hurdles are actually hindering private sector investments in EBA. So the next question, look at the partnership that companies were actually looking out for. So many responses were quite mixed about this one regarding partnership with external funders or investors to support EBA projects. Many companies reported that they were actually in a partnership about such initiatives. However, an equal number said that they were not, and many were unsure. So there is quite a limited awareness of the kind of engagement with external financing mechanisms which exist for EBA. Question 8 was the next question 11 was looking at the co-financing possibility with the public sector or any development agencies. The majority of respondents indicated that their company was open to actually co-financing EBA projects. No respondents rejected this idea, suggesting that there is a general openness to collaborate. In terms of the benefits that companies saw in adopting EBA strategies, the most commonly cited one was to enhance resilience, but also to support for biodiversity conservation and also for cost-effective climate adaptations, all major concerns for small island developing states. Some companies also recognized social benefits, improved livelihoods, and the promotion of sustainable resource management. These responses reflect a broad recognition of the ecological, social, and economic value that EBA can offer to businesses. So that was part of our findings. Now Dr. Lee is going to take over for the remainder of the findings.
Thank you, Neve. The next question, we asked participants to rank which factors that they considered the most important to motivate their company in adopting EBA practices. And from this question, what we found that government funding was ranked at the most important factor. Also, we found that clearer policy guidelines, regulations, and also technical training and awareness, which was a recurring theme throughout. What we also found was a lot of the respondents believed otherwise and ranked these factors as being the least important when looking at their EBA practices. So there was some tensions between the responses. The next question, we asked if your company had a formal policy or strategy on EBA. So very few respondents indicated that their company did, in actual fact, have a formal policy or strategy regarding EBA, and most respondents said that they had no such policy, and a significant number were also unsure. So this really highlights that the formalisation of EBA within the business strategy is still at a very early stage, and also links to, perhaps the lack of knowledge as well. Then we asked if EBA was already integrated into your existing business operations. And for this question, the responses indicated that it was overall not yet widely integrated into the existing business operations. Some said that while some companies we recognise have been or have already incorporated EBA, the majority either have not or they were not sure. So this really highlights the need for clearer integration of strategies and internal awareness on EBA as well, and obviously to embed it in top-level management plan. This question, we asked if the top management had publicly endorsed or supported any EBA initiatives or projects by the company. Most respondents indicated that the top management has publicly endorsed or supported EBA projects, which reflects strong leadership engagement in some of these organisations that have implemented these practices and projects. There were a notable number of respondents that were either unsure or they reported no such endorsement. So from this, we can conclude that, that visible senior level support for EBA remains uneven across different companies. In this question, we asked what challenges the company faces in implementing EBA projects, and we asked participants to select all that applied to them. So what we found in this question, that financial and economic constraints were the most commonly reported challenges. This was followed by regulatory and policy barriers and also climate change related uncertainty. It did also highlight some technical and knowledge gaps, along with challenges related to land use, financial models and payback periods, and also stakeholder engagement. A few of the respondents indicated that the question was not applicable to their organisation. So overall, the responses reflected a broad set of interrelated barriers that can hinder the uptake of EBA within the private sector, but financial and economic constraints certainly come through the strongest. In this question, we asked, does your company or your organisation communicate about its EBA projects? So responses were quite mixed with this question. So although we had some respondents that confirmed that they do, a large portion of respondents either do not or they did not know, they were unsure. So this suggests that communication about its EBA projects remains quite inconsistent or underdeveloped across many organisations. In this question, we asked, how does your company communicate about EBA projects? So overall, we found in this question that communication was quite varied, with social media, sustainability reports, integrated reports, internal newspapers and company websites were all mentioned as channels to discharge their information and their communication about their EBA efforts and projects. We also found a large number of respondents were unsure, which indicates a potential lack of clarity or coordination within the organisation around EBA community practices within the company. So in this question, we asked what the main motivations were for your company to report on its EBA activities and projects. The responses from this question, we found the most common drivers were alignment with the organisation's sustainability strategies, enhancing its reputation, and also supporting risk mitigation and climate resilience as well. There were some other motivations that was mentioned, and these were meeting the stakeholder or the investor expectations, maintaining the company's legitimacy, and ensuring compliance, and also the organisation trying to gain a competitive advantage. And it was quite pleasing to see that there was no respondents that cited impression management. And the next question, we asked if your company aligns to any of the following international guidelines on EBA. So as you know, there are a number of frameworks and guidelines that's available. So responses were quite varied to this question. The most commonly cited frameworks were the UNFCCC, the Montreal Biodiversity, Global Biodiversity Framework, and the CBD. Some companies did refer to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the IUCN, GEF, and Climate Action Plan as well. However, a significant portion of the respondents indicated that their company does not currently align with any of these guidelines or frameworks, suggesting that there is room for greater engagement and uptake of utilising the frameworks and guidelines that is available to discharge on EBA. This section, the questions were concentrated on future prospects and support needed by organisations. So here we asked if your company had to date received any training on EBA. And all the respondents indicated that their company has not received any training on EBA. This highlights a real significant gap in the current capacity building efforts, that so far no one has undertaken any training on EBA. Following from this, we asked if your company would be interested in participating in training programmes or workshops on EBA. And again, overall, the majority of the respondents here expressed interest in training programmes or any workshops on EBA. So this really indicates a real strong demand for capacity building opportunities within the business sector. And we only had very few respondents that said no, they were not interested. In this question, we focused on financial support. So what kind of financial support would help your company expand or initiate EBA projects? And we received a number of suggestions. Suggestions included grant funding, project-based funding, private investment, and blended finance approaches. So again, we collected a sort of diverse selection of answers that indicates that different funding models are seen as valuable. Only a few respondents noted that financial support was not applicable to their current operations. In this question, we asked what technical expertise or capacity building support does your company need to successfully implement EBA? So the responses varied here. From technical expertise and capacity building support is needed to implement successful EBA. Some cited the needs related to project design and implementation, while others highlighted expertise in biodiversity, water and conservation more widely. Some respondents gave general or varied answers, and a few indicated that the question again was not applicable to their company operations. Here we asked if there was any specific policy or regulatory changes that would make it easy for your company to invest in EBA projects. So a few respondents here highlighted that tax incentives or regulatory alignment with frameworks such as the aforementioned ones that we had asked about. So Task Force for Climate Financial Disclosures, Task Force for Nature Financial Disclosures, the ISSB standards, etc. as their key enablers for greater investment in EBA. Some respondents seem to be unclear or uncertain to the question. The last few questions, we asked, does your company collaborate with any government agencies, NGOs or research institutions currently on EBA activities? Most respondents reported that their company does collaborate, and these were cited as some government agencies, some NGOs and some research institutions. So we did see quite a strong level of engagement with external stakeholders in advancing EBA efforts. And there were still a small number that indicated that they were uncertain or there was no current collaboration in place. In this question, we asked if your company benefits from the collaboration with the government agencies, the NGOs or the research institutions, and most agreed that if there was collaboration in place, then that they did benefit from this collaboration. So this really highlights the value of cross-sector partnerships. We asked what role industry associations or business networks play in helping your company promote EBA projects. So a significant number of respondents indicated that they did not know what role that these bodies could play and how they could enable them. The respondents suggested that associations could facilitate peer learning, exchange of success stories and dissemination of practical knowledge. Some also noted that investment and financial support and also private sector collaboration would be helpful moving forward. So in terms of recommendations for improving the uptake of EBA among businesses in small island developing states, overall, the most frequently cited recommendation was the need for greater education and awareness raising efforts. So some emphasised the need for stronger involvement from public institutions and also access to adequate and sustained funding. So some reflections overall from the survey, and also this was supported from the interviews. What we could identify, we could see that there were varying levels of maturity. There were some sectoral and island-specific differences and responses. Overwhelmingly, there is a critical need for awareness and capacity building. Financing was really quite apparent as a key barrier to organisations implementing EBA projects. And it's clear that there's definitely a call for stronger regulatory and policy guidelines as well. So we're just going to stop sharing the screen now.
So that was the end of our findings. So, Susanna?
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup pour tous ces éléments. Est-ce que il y a des questions parmi l'Assemblée? Do you have some questions to ask to Dr. Roberts and Pariag-Maraye? You must have been very clear. Tout le monde a bien compris. Puisqu'il n'y a pas de questions pour le moment. Eh bien, si nous n'avons pas de questions, on a le Q&A, Q&R qui est ouvert, which is open. So
Okay, yeah, I'm just having a look now. I don't see any questions in the chat.
No,
I'm just
me
having a look in the
neither.
Q&A. Okay, yeah, no, I don't see any there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so I guess if there's no questions, I think we would just like to again take the opportunity to thank the participants for their time and effort in completing the survey and or participating in the interview. It's very much appreciated, and it gives us all these rich insights and allows us to move forward with the project. So thank you again.
Merci. An observation. The chat. Alors, concernant l'envoi du rapport, donc du Regional Assessment, donc l'étude, elle a été faite, elle a été finalisée. Il nous reste quelques petits éléments de rédaction à revoir. Donc, c'est du détail pour le moment, mais l'étude sera diffusée. Cap Business s'occupera de la diffuser. Et en fait, elle va vraiment nous permettre justement, suite à cet état des lieux, suite à cette overview, de donner en fait des recommandations très concrètes. Donc ça, c'est vraiment l'étape qui va arriver après. Donc le rapport sera diffusé, l'étude sera diffusée et il y aura aussi une série de recommandations associées à ça. Nivi and Lee, I don't know if you want to add something.
I think that today's session was mostly to share the preliminary findings of the study. And like was mentioned earlier on, it's one of the few studies, if not the first one, looking into biodiversity within the Western Indian Ocean islands. So at this stage, it was just to get an insight of actually what's out there and being done by companies. Although the report is going to be more detailed as the report prepared by Dr. Amilou, what's important to highlight here is for more in-depth island-specific kind of EBA appraisal, this would require a specific study itself on the island and what's being done there. So this was broader across the 4 islands to get a first feel of what's out there. But the report is going to detail the differences. But like I said, for more in-depth investigation, it would need to be a case study per island to identify that. Thank you.
Sorry. Si nous n'avons pas plus de questions, if we don't have any questions, on va passer à la présentation.
I think you have a hand raised, Susanna.
I can authorize the microphone and the camera. Okay, so you can put your camera and microphone on.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Nice to be part of this session. Let me present myself. I'm Mida Ganpat. I've been a former senior chief executive at the Ministry of Agriculture. So I know very well what you are talking about. And I appreciate what you have done. My only qualm is that although I appreciate what you said in the last minute, that this is only a preliminary report, because what I find that only 2 companies from Seychelles have responded. And on the basis of 2 companies, you can't prepare a report.
Yes, but there was no generalization being made here. It's not the normal statistical quantitative kind of analysis being done. And all these differences have been taken on board. But you're rightly correct pointing this out. We have been struggling a lot, like you see with the response rates, which require, and one of our recommendation is when carrying out this kind of inter-island comparison study, not comparison, but inter-island kind of study, it would require, first of all, that we carry out an kind of ethnographic research on the island itself so that we are able to engage better with the various companies and stakeholders involved there, which hopefully would be part phase 2 and phase 3 on EBA and biodiversity.
Yeah, what I'll suggest humbly that we target those companies which have the means and which are located maybe near sensitive areas. There you can find, like, there is somebody from a hotel participating. I know there are a lot of mangroves there. When you talk of EBA, I saw a picture of mangroves. I don't know whether EBA is linked directly to mangroves or other things also.
Yes.
For me, since I retired, I shifted into business, but I'm most towards agriculture, improvement of soil, etc. Because my business deals with sustainable products, innovative products, eco-cert products for the soil improvement. Because for me, in future, if you allow me to say that, maybe for Saida, yes, for agriculture, if you have something specific for agriculture, I would like to be part there, because for me, in future, we all know the temperature will go increasing. So for island state like Mauritius, where I am, there's a lot of risk where we have to mitigate. Of course, funding is a main issue. So if it is already there for you to carry study and fund companies we can save the island, in between inverted commas, save the island in the future. That will be most welcome for the future generations.
Yes, we indeed will have some discussion and exchanges about agriculture, biodiversity, and climate change resilience. So I will I note that you want to take part in our reflection on it. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
My business is based on soil improvement.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
Noted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Okay. If no one has any further question, I think maybe I have one participant. No, that's fine. We are going to move on with the Constance Hospitality presentation. So, David, I don't know if you are ready to go on.
I'm ready.
So we will have a presentation of what Constance Group is implementing in their hotels, resorts, and golfs. So thank you very much to you to share your experiences and experiments on the subject. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Susanna. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, Neeve and Lee. First of all, I would like to thank you all to give the Constance Hotels and Resorts this opportunity of presenting today. Well, I'm talking about presenting, it's more about sharing. And today I'm assisted with Marcus, who is located in Seychelles, and Vinita, who is our marine biologist located in Maldives. But she will be talking about the coral restoration program that we have both in the Maldives and also Rodrigues Island. And Marcus will be talking about the mangrove restoration program that we have in Seychelles. So before that, I would like to introduce the Constance Hotels and Resorts. So we were established in 1975. And our sustainable journey started early on in the early 2000s. And in 2013, we decided to go for our first certification. So we selected the Green Globe certification program. And last year, we achieved our platinum status after 10 years continuous improvement associated to that. So as part of our journey, we are located, first of all, in Mauritius, Rodrigues, Madagascar, Seychelles, and Maldives, with 11 hotels. And our location, the selection of our location was also based on the area where we were going to have our hotel. And Mr. Meda asked about sensitive areas, and indeed it was part of our selection process before having a business or hotel over there. So, I mean, a part of our ethics is, it's true we are running a business, but we also choose to have sensitive areas, to select areas where we have got selected sensitive areas so that we could restore also our ecosystem based over there. So if Marcus and Vinta is ready. Vinita?
Yes, hello. Yes, I'm ready.
Wonderful. So I will leave Vinita for a brief presentation of our coral restoration program that is ongoing. Like I said, we have it in the Maldives. I know it is not covered under the current discussion that we are having, which involves Comores, Mauritius, Madagascar, and Seychelles. But we also have it in the Rodrigues Island, and we have Vinita who will be covering the coral restoration part. Vinita, please.
I wanted to share a presentation. I'm not allowed to share. Can I share, or maybe I can just explain everything?
Yeah. Susanna?
Let me check. I think if you're not
organizer
speaker, yes, exactly. Can you send it to me very quickly on my email, and then I can share it myself? Is it possible?
Yes.
Or maybe I can put you in speaker.
Okay, maybe
Can you remember me your email quickly?
Yes.
In the meantime, while we address these logistic issues,
Yeah.
Marcus? Marcus, are you here? Sorry, Marcus is located in Seychelles, and very often we have got connection issues.
Yeah, connection issues. Okay.
I think.
Or maybe Vinita, can you send it to Javid if you already have his email?
He has it already. No? Maybe you can share it and I can talk about it.
Yeah, it would be great.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah. Opening. Now, Vinita, I need permission to access.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Oh, Marcus, you're here. Thank you.
Sorry for the little confusion because I'm using my assistant's laptop and it was on mute. From your side. Okay, so everybody, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you. And my name is Marcus. I'm the sustainability manager here at Constance affiliate for the last 11 years. And we, like Mr. Javed explained, we implemented a lot of sustainability initiatives to strengthen our commitment for our environmental stewardship. And today I will give you just a small excursion through our mangrove rehabilitation success story. As you know, Seychelles is a small island developing state, and even the national policies are much related to environmental impacts like coastal erosion, biodiversity loss, climate change, and all these aspects. So that's why from our side, we focus mainly on the mangrove area, since the mangrove forests are the best protection for coastal erosion issues. They support biodiversity, carbon sequestration, and of course the filtration of the water. So that's why from our side we partnered with the Ministry of Environment, because our hotel is located in a designated Ramsar site. So that means before the hotel was built, this mangrove area was already declared a Ramsar site of international importance. So years after the hotel was built, and since then we had a strong commitment to maintain and manage this mangrove area, which is within the hotel property. On the other note, I want to highlight that we not border only with the mangrove. We have also a marine park on one of our beaches bordering the hotel, and also the surrounding hills is a forest national park. So that means the hotel is surrounded by national parks and protected areas. And that's why we're putting strong emphasis on sustainable tourism to maintain these beautiful landscapes and habitats. So from the mangroves, so this is a very interesting project because we partnered with the Ministry of Environment. We have like an MOU where we're having a joint collaboration with the government and community partners to manage this mangrove area. And this includes a lot of awareness campaigns. So we are inviting children from schools, community members, wildlife clubs, researchers, students to come to the hotel for environmental education tours. We do a lot of planting activities. We engage in cleanup activities within the hotel, outside of the hotel, just to create more of this awareness, to make the people understand the importance of this mangrove area. In addition, we established a mangrove nursery, which is very special because it was one of the first in Seychelles, let's say, where we planting seeds in planting pots, where we are able to monitor them. And after that, the saplings will be transplanted in degraded mangrove areas. So this is a very good success story because initially we planted mangroves just by putting the seeds in the mud or in the soil. But the survival rate was very low. So with the mangrove nursery, it's a survival rate above the 90%, which is a very, very good result for mangrove rehabilitation. Also to highlight is that the rehabilitation was all done together with the community members. So that's a very nice approach to include the community members, to plant in and also to transplant the saplings. And not only the community members, even our guests are welcome to help us planting or transplanting these mangrove seedlings. And this is a very nice success story since we rehabilitated around 2 hectares of degraded mangrove forest, where we planted around 5,000 trees, and we included, or in participation, let's say, with around 3,500 community members over the last years. So this is a very, very nice success story, or can be even a role model for restoration projects together with the communities. And this is also a very important approach to get the community members more involved, or to give them the ownership to manage their coastal or natural resources and see the importance out of it. In addition to the planting, we also started a monitoring system in which we are monitoring the transplanted saplings on a 6-monthly basis. And this will give us a good indication about the growth rate and the survival rate of the different species that are growing here in Seychelles. And this model can be also used for other areas for mangrove or coastal rehabilitation in Seychelles. Of course, our monitoring data is more specific for this area where our mangrove is located, but the overall approach can be easily applied even all over the world, to be honest. In addition to the monitoring, we started also photo monitoring. So this is very, very interesting. So we took pictures of the last 10 years from the same spot, the same location, just to see the succession of the mangrove and the growing conditions, which is very, very nice to see, which I will show you just briefly when we finish the presentation. In addition, also, a very nice project we implemented last year. So we introduced honeybees into the mangrove area. And this is a very, very special and unique project, especially in Seychelles here, because usually beekeepers practice their tradition in the tropical forests. So in mangrove areas, it was never there before that somebody put honeybees in the mangrove area. So that's why this project is super unique and very special because it's the first ever mangrove honey available in Seychelles. But it's not only about the honey, it's also about the pollination rate of the bees. As you know, the bees are the best pollinators of ecosystems. So together with our planting efforts to rehabilitate degraded areas, so the bees additionally help us with better pollination rates, and as a result, we have more seeds and a more healthy and diverse mangrove area or mangrove forests. So this was also a very, very interesting project. And the honey is a bit limited, but we're trying to introduce more colonies for the community members and our guests to enjoy this very special and first ever mangrove honey in Seychelles. Yes, so that's it in a way from our mangrove rehabilitation success story. It's a very nice approach over the years. We put strong emphasis to have a holistic approach to include everybody. And not to forget is also the awareness nationally and internationally to our guests. So I'm always preaching for more awareness campaigns and information to be shared for the people to understand the importance of our ecosystems and how we depend on them. And of course, the impacts we are facing, maybe from climate change or other factors. So the people have to understand more about it, and then they will be more likely to act or to change their habits for the better. So that's why awareness is always our key approach for all sustainability aspects. So I'll finish from here. I just want to show you briefly these, or I can share. Let me just try. I'm not allowed to share? Okay, no problem.
Yes, I think it will be the same problem with Vinita. I think you won't be able to share your screen, unfortunately.
No problem. I just wanted to show you the before-after picture, which is a nice comparison to see a degraded area and with all our efforts to see it years after.
Maybe you could send me via mail in the meantime. We will proceed with the presentation of Vinita, and then we can show the pictures right afterwards.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, please feel free. I will be happy to assist.
We will pick up the questions after Vinita's.
Okay.
Thank you, Marcus. So we move to Vinita's presentation. I think I have got. I think I have got the same issue also from my side.
Oh, you cannot share also.
Javid, you must be in like speaker, so you should be able to share your screen as Neeve and Lee, I think. Alors, let me check. Javid, can you send it to me? If I can have it on my I'm sorry for these technical problems, everyone.
If it's too
Vinita,
complicated, I can just share.
yeah, Vinita,
explain everything.
Vinita, I just send you an email, so
Oui.
you have mine. Donc, si tu veux me le renvoyer, je peux aussi l'avoir, mais tu peux commencer. Et comme ça, après, au pire, si j'arrive à partager. Mais vas-y, je te laisse.
Oui, je vais commencer.
Je te laisse la parole toujours, ouais. Merci.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I'm Vinita, marine biologist in Constance, so based in the Maldives, in Constance Mufushi Hotels. I'm from Mauritius and Réunion, so this is a subject that really interesting me and are really important for me. I work in the Seychelles also before, so really nice. So me, I wanted to share a bit more about coral restoration. So here in Constance Mufushi, our biggest project is the coral restoration program. So what is it? So basically with climate change, we have a lot of our corals that died or bleached. So coral, when the temperature rose, this is the main issue with climate change. When temperature rose, a lot of species cannot live in the ocean anymore. So we experience a lot of dying events. Mainly in 2016, we got a big mass bleaching event where 70% of all the corals died. So with that, we started coral restoration. So we are using a steel frame. So it's we have different sizes. So it's frame coated with resin and sand. So to mimic the hard surface that coral love to attach on. So what's happening is I collect healthy coral from a healthy reef a bit outside of the island. I will attach the coral on the frame. And after some months and some years, you can have a big reef that really grow. And with that, you have all biodiversity, you have all fish that comes around, bring a lot of more life around. And it's also a big guest engagement because they come with us, they do everything with us, we are following. And my job is to maintain it. And now you don't see pictures, but after some years, you can really have a healthy reef and restore everything. So before it was mainly dead, nothing left. And now we have 236 coral frame here in the Maldives, and we will have some in the Rodrigue soon. So it will bring back life and it can restore a whole ecosystem. So it's really important for us, Constance, to do something to help the environment, because with a healthy reef, you will have a healthy ecosystem, you will support fishing industry, there will be all life around coral reef. So it's one of the main reason Constance is investing in this kind of project. And we really put a big attention on awareness. I do presentation with the guests, I explain everything. So everyone can get involved and we can make the reef and the ecosystem, everything better on. So yeah, that's a bit
Vinita?
it. If you have, yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think you can share your screen now. I've made some
Yes,
changes.
Let me share. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so I will show you quickly, just for you to see a bit what is a coral. So coral are sessile animal. They are the one that will build our reef. So this you can really see it. So all the corals are a colony. So form with this little polyp that you can see and will build the whole reef ecosystem. So I wanted to explain to you a bit what was the bleaching with climate change. You have rising of temperature. So it caused like a global warming. So that's where coral start from really colorful, bright colors. and then it's turning white. So when it's turning white, there is no algae anymore in it, no food, so the coral is very vulnerable and weak. That's where we have to act on it. And that's why we started here in Constance to restore and try to fight back. With coral restoration method, we reattach fragment of living and resilient coral. So restoration for us means like we have hope for our reef. So this is a bit of what the reef look like after the bleaching event. You can see all the coral bleach. There's no more fish anymore. And this is the frame that we are using. So this is steel frame, and you can see that on the frame we coated it with resin and sand. So this will mimic the floor that the coral love to get attached. And you can see all the healthy coral that we attach on it. So this was done in 2016. So we attach it with the cable tie, so it will stay on it. So here for you to see a bit the evolution. So the frame will provide a stable structure for our coral fragment. So this is just planted. Then after 6 months, you can already see fishes around. You can see the coral growing. After a year, you can see the growth. And normally after 3 years, you can really create an habitat. You have fish and marine organisms that will be around the island. So some of the long-term benefit of doing this coral restoration program. So it's reattaching coral means continue grow and expand. So it's helping regenerate the damaged reef area. You have area where there was no coral anymore. Everything was dead. Now we can see fish. We can see everything around. It supports biodiversity. By restoring coral, you provide shelter, a breeding ground for wild marine life, so fish, invertebrate. We improve ecosystem stability. Healthy coral reefs stabilize the underwater environment. It will improve the overall ecosystem resilience. Strengthening the reef structure, so coral reattachment reinforce the physical structure of the reef and will help to withstand storm and wave action. We reduce waste of broken coral. So coral can get broken by waves or by the tourism people. So by reattaching this coral, we use them again. So it's not going to waste. And we promote mainly sustainable tourism around the island with vibrant reef and me trying to raise a bit more awareness on everything. So that's about it. Thank you so much. So if you have any question, don't hesitate. I'll try to answer to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vinita. And I will also share pictures from Marcus. Yes. So this is the pictures of the mangrove rehabilitation done in Constance Hotels in Seychelles. And I think we can go with the questions. Okay, alors I will start. I have a question myself. I was actually wondering if you were able to develop a product with mangrove honey, because it would be great that you can have like a new like you can have more tourism. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But also to develop a new product, it would be a great idea.
Yes, it is already in place somehow, because we were partnering with the local beekeeping association for that, to get the guidance and expertise from them, and of course the equipment. So since we started to make the honey, in the beginning we started only with one colony, and now we're expanding a bit. And the basic idea is, yes, to mainly give it to our guests as a unique souvenir from Seychelles.
Yeah.
But also in line with the local beekeeping association, we participating in a project now from La Réunion, where they are analyzing the honey about its properties. So that project just started this year, and in line with this project, we will get more insight or expertise about not only the honey, there's also the propolis of the bees, maybe you heard about it, and also to analyze the honey to see its special properties, or if maybe the mangrove honey is much more different to one of the tropical forests, or to see more its properties. And this will be a bit the baseline to promote the honey even more. So for now, our promotion of the honey was mainly done because it's the only let's say, mangrove honey in Seychelles available, and also very unique because it's in the Ramsar site. So it's not just a mangrove honey, it's a mangrove honey from a certified Ramsar site, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why it is so unique and special. And the idea is, yes, to market it a bit more, and not only to market it, but to create a bit this awareness, and not only about the honey, but also about the bees, the life cycle of the bees, their pollination, the importance of the environment, since the bee populations are declining all over the world. So we're also focusing a lot on these, let's say, climate change impacts, also maybe on the bees, or change of our habits. So we are linking it nicely with the mangrove rehabilitation and now with the bees. So it's a very good connection to link the different ecosystem services together and to create awareness around it to our guests and to community members.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you, Marcus. We have a question from Mr. Ravi Lukun.
Thank you. Bonjour tout le monde. Hi Javed, hi Vinita and Marcus. Ça va?
Very good.
Yeah, congratulations first of all on this amazing project. I think I'm amazed to see these progress happening so quickly on the pictures that you sent. So congratulations on that. I do have a few questions actually for all three of us. Did you have any challenges with the authorities and the community when it comes to coral restoration permits or even the mangrove restoration project? And I wanted to know, what is the survival rate of the coral reef, the coral fragment that you are planting? And also my last question is about, recently we had a very large-scale bleaching which was happening in the Indian Ocean, which impacted also Mauritius, where we have our coral farming site, which unfortunately have been impacted. Did you face such kind of issues, and are there any remedial action that you're taking to counter this? Thank you.
So I will take the floor first and try to cover the three aspects of it. So your first question was about permits.
Yeah.
So I must say that I have been to all the destinations, and it's true that in Mauritius, the challenges that you are facing is very real. However, in the Seychelles or in the Maldives, it's a bit more easy. We have the flexibility to, of course, we need to inform the authorities. We need to, provide our action plan and our management plan and everything before getting the permit, but it's a bit more easy. Your second question, remind me?
Coral survival rate?
Yeah, that was the third, I think, but coral restoration survivor, it's true. We started, I believe you understand about the Indian dipole and all these things. So there has been a change last year, as from September or October. But it's true that we are not having coral programs in the Seychelles or in Mauritius. We started last year in Rodrigues, but our main project about coral restoration is in the Maldives. Part of the reason is also because the factors that might affect the survival rate is more stable. In Mauritius, with everything, all the activities that we are having inland, it can affect the salinity of the waters drastically. And this is one of the reasons why, in terms of risk management, We chose not to have coral programs in Mauritius. I know many stakeholders are trying to have it. We also know about the challenges in terms of permits. I think 2 weeks ago, we had a new change in legislation or framework or whatever.
Exactly.
But in Maldives, the conditions are much more stable. It's true. Of course, we are subjected to environmental factors, and Vinita will be sharing about it shortly. But it's more stable, and this is why we chose to rather invest in Maldives and in Rodrigues rather than in Seychelles, Madagascar, or even Mauritius. And your third was about, if I'm not mistaken, your mangroves?
About the mangroves, it was about the permit and community engagement. Did you have any challenge with that?
Of course, Marcus will add on that. But again, we had the opportunity, the location where the hotel is. We have a nearby community, a village nearby, and we regularly collaborate with the local stakeholders. We invite them to participate in our mangrove restoration program on a special days, special occasions, and it's one of our best community projects that we are having. Like every year, we have the visits from, like, if I'm not mistaken on the figures, I think it would be around 2,000 stakeholders visiting our mangrove site. I'm talking about local stakeholders, but also the EU delegation that I had the chance to meet last year. We have also partnered with, and I think I'm also partly answering one of the questions that we have in the chat here. We have also partnered with external, foreign universities who are actually coming to visit the site, and they are the one who are actually monitoring the success rate or the KPIs or the benefits of our projects on the ecosystem globally. So Vinita, if you could add on the coral aspect.
On the coral aspect, also regarding community engagement, here we got also project with local island, local schools. So we try to make it something also like rising community awareness, and everyone is really into it. Restoring their own around island coral reef is something really great. Regarding coral survival, so here in the Maldives, the nice thing is it's remote island, so we don't have agriculture, we don't have a lot of chemical going in the sea, we don't have that much change in salinity or other thing. We do have the temperature that do rise and go down a bit more often now. So we do get bleaching event because of that. We try to help it out by doing this coral restoration. So some of the coral will definitely die, and we will do it again. So it's a circle. It will never end. So we will have some friend that will die, unfortunately. But after the bleaching event, we can attach new fragment. It can start again. Some coral are surviving well because we're used to it now of the temperature rising and all. And we do have a lot of currents going around the small remote island. So it helps to bring fresh, not cold water, but less warm than it should be. So we do on remote island have more advantage compared to in Mauritius or in Réunion Island or in the Seychelles, where I was there also, and it's hard to do coral restoration in some of the place. Here we don't have also a lot of wave action, so more easier also. The coral need a calm weather, not a lot of change. So it will all be depending on each island. Coral restoration will be great, but you have to have the proper condition to start it. Even you will just put some coral frame and nothing gonna survive. So you have to have special condition for it to be able to survive.
Amazing.
Did I answer
for the
everything?
sharing. Yeah. Thank you so much for the sharing. Indeed, I think the conditions are so different compared to Mauritius, and there are learnings from it definitely that we can definitely take from your experience and try to see how we can adapt with the conditions happening in Mauritius today. and make it happen. And yeah, indeed, unfortunately, as you were saying, Javed, we just received the communication also 2 weeks ago from the government of Mauritius that coral farming has been banned, if I can say that, in Mauritius right now. Yeah, stopped until further notice. So we're discussing with the authorities. Apparently, what they are proposing is to go more with sexual reproduction methodologies, which takes longer. And
Yeah.
I don't know, Vinita,
So
you're an expert. What do you think?
You do have methods that they use just propagation, so they will wait for recruitment from the corals. It's really slow process. So it's a process that will take time, and you have to have a healthy reef around to have a lot of recruitment. So we call it spawning. So it's when you have the sperm and the ovule of the corals that are releasing in the sea. If you don't have a healthy reef around it, the spawning will be really limited and the survival rate will be really low. That's why we use coral restoration. Even us with coral around, if we just wait for recruitment, it can be really hard. Restoration by fragment, it's better because it's already a healthy coral, so it will grow quicker and it's more resistant with temperatures. I will say in degraded area where you don't have any more reef or any more healthy place, it's hard to wait for recruitment. On healthy place, if you have a healthy area and you just wanted to let it grow, you can wait for recruitment, but it's really hard.
Yeah. Susanna, I have a few questions. Can I? Or are we running out of time? Sorry, I'm
maybe
so
no, you can, we still have 20 minutes, but maybe I can go back to you and have the other questions, and then thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Let's
you,
give
Ravi.
everyone the opportunity. Thank you.
So Vinita, you already answered partly, but we also have 2 questions about corals. What measures are taken to ensure that restored coral reefs do not die? So you partly responded to that. Et ensuite, comment sélectionnez-vous les espèces de coraux et les endroits sites de transplantation? Donc pareil, tu as un peu répondu à cette question. Sont-ils protégés, ces sites-là? Et comment est-ce que vous anticipez les vagues de forte chaleur qui peuvent à nouveau fragiliser les coraux? Donc, je ne sais pas si tu veux ajouter suite à ces 2 questions. Thank you.
In terms of coral, so we cannot ensure that all the coral gonna survive. It's up to the environment and all, but I do maintenance on the coral. So I will remove algae or invasive species that will slow down the change of survival. So it's on a every day-to-day basis. We try to take care of them, to monitor everything. Collecting coral, so so we find some coral sourcing place. So normally on a healthy coral, I'm allowed to take just 20% on it to not affect the change of survival. These areas are not protected. The issue in the Maldives, and I think in a lot of places, it's really hard to make an area a marine protect area. And in a marine protect area, you cannot do coral restoration normally. So when you have a marine protect area, you're not allowed to take out coral or put in corals. So basically, if you do coral restoration, it will be on non-marine protect area, or you have to have special permit to do it. And from the species, so I choose mainly Acropora, so it's branching coral, because branching coral grow faster. So they can grow 10 centimeters per year compared to other species, which will grow like 5 centimeters. So we want the reef to grow faster. The only issue with Acropora gender, they also are the most sensible from the bleaching, but it's a balance to have. And how I anticipate bleaching event and warming temperature. There's not that much anticipation. Normally, coral, we don't have to move them. So when there is a bleaching event, people try to move the coral frame a bit deeper, try to get cooler temperature. But if you move them deeper, you don't have light anymore, and they will need light. So coral can come back, so they are resilient. So we will let the bleaching happen, and then we'll see how it goes. Normally, it should, after 4 weeks, if the temperature goes to the normal, everything should come to the normal. If not, we try to monitor it, and if it died, we replace it by healthy coral. I think I answered all the questions.
Oui, merci beaucoup. Ensuite, on avait une question. Alors, maybe also for Nivi and Lee and Javed. Are we currently able to measure the impacts of all these ecosystem-based adaptation initiatives? And if so, how is that being approached?
Yes, I answered that partly earlier. So in the Seychelles, we have partnered with, we receive regular visits from universities, from researchers, especially from Germany, because we were also talking about funding earlier. So based on our project, we have been able to secure some kind of funding from universities and sometimes from other stakeholders. So we have the visits from the universities, and they are the one who are the experts. They come and visit us, and they conduct the analysis, the observation, and the monitoring. And they are usually the one who are able to guide us or give us the scientific approach on these restoration programs. For the coral restoration program, I think it's been two years that we have partnered with local researchers, local NGOs that are bringing us this scientific approach to be able to monitor and observe what is happening and how it benefits the whole system.
Nivi and Lee, I don't know if you want to add something,
Yeah.
or maybe Javed, sorry.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Nivi.
think I'll just add to that I think it's very it's project based as well, the impact measurement, and I think as we've seen and we've mentioned, it's very much like sector based and project based depending on the islands. And I don't think at this stage have something specific overall kind for all EBA projects. We don't have a database of all EBA initiatives per island or for the Western Indian Ocean altogether. And this is something we're trying to work on to create a database of EBA initiatives for Mauritius, such that from there will also be a categorization of the various type of projects and the impact measurement and the metrics that need to be devised, because as Javed rightly pointed out, for each one, the metrics to measure the impact will be different. So it has to be project-based metrics and impact measurement.
And I would probably just like to add to that in terms of then communicating that to your wider stakeholders, that's where these frameworks and guidelines are important to you, such as the Global Reporting Initiative, aligning to the SDGs, linking any species, threatened species, etc., under the IUCN Red List. So these are all things that companies should be thinking about in addition to discharging that information and communicating that information on their efforts in these projects.
À propos de communication, j'ai une question moi aussi. Comment, au niveau de Constance, vous communiquez auprès des visiteurs par rapport à ces actions, et comment vous en faites vraiment peut-être une image de marque, ou enfin voilà, comment est-ce que vous gérez cette communication?
Dans notre programme, I will shift again to English. So on our weekly program, whether it be in the Maldives or in the Seychelles, we organize one visit to the mangroves, and Vinita also proposes a lot of, I think it's thrice a week, where she will be presenting about the coral, about whale sharks, about the biodiversity, about a lot of things. And she also invite our guests to go for snorkeling, to visit the area and understand in a better way, experience it in live, what is happening and how we are able to manage all those different projects. From the mangrove side, like I said, once a week, I think it is on Thursdays principally, where we invite all the guests to join us for a walk in the mangroves, where we are going to explain about the different species, about how we are maintaining them. And actually, the Constance Hotels is a perfect example when we talk about ridge to reef, because on one side we have got the Ramsar site where we have the mangroves and things, but it also discharges into a marine protected area, a marine park. So we are able to explain all these different things to our guests through live explanation, visits, and things. And at the higher level, of course, we also talk about our different projects, our impact through our annual sustainability report that is published on our website.
Okay, thank
And
you
of course,
very much.
we also getting a lot of requests from external stakeholders. Like I mentioned earlier, we received the visits of the EU delegation last year in October. We are, especially Constance Hotels is regularly publicized in the newspapers as the green conference or something area, conference for meetings and things like that. So we got a lot of PR through the local authorities themselves, which helps us also to communicate about our different projects. And of course, in the rooms on our IPTV, we have a section, a category about sustainability, where we present our annual report and all the practices that we have and projects going on and the pictures and things.
Okay. Thank you very much, David. And I think, okay, we have a question from Kasim, and then Ravi, I will get back to you as I promised. So Kasim Fidali, I think you are authorized to speak and to activate your camera. And to activate your camera. Oh, you have to put your microphone on. Great.
Okay, it's better.
Yes.
And I think it will be better also in French, if you don't mind. Thank you for all these studies. It's really a great examples of also for mangrove also. Actually, ouais, je suis de Mayotte en réalité. Prise en compte. Après, et pourtant, je pense que j'ai eu quand même un interview, enfin un interview avec Neeve pour analyser un petit peu les choses. C'est vrai que l'exemple des coraux déjà, c'est top parce que ça a été fait ici. Enfin, ils sont en train de commencer en fait à Mayotte. Par contre, on a un gros problème au niveau des mangroves. Et c'est très compliqué en termes de sensibilisation aussi. J'avais une question précise sur les mangroves. Est-ce que pour les mangroves, la manière, enfin l'apiculture, est-ce que c'est la même chose que l'apiculture normale ou est-ce qu'il y a des choses différentes à mettre en place pour réussir ça? Et est-ce qu'il y a une étude qui pourrait être, qu'on pourrait utiliser justement pour pouvoir reproduire cela, voilà, pour essayer. Parce qu'on a le même souci à Mayotte et je pense que dans toutes les îles, dans tous les petits îlots, en fait, où la mangrove est très protectrice. Et je pense qu'il y a quelque chose à faire aussi à Mayotte, en fait. Merci.
Alors, je vais prendre cette question parce que nous avons Marcus qui est d'origine allemande et pas très à l'aise avec le français. Oui, effectivement, c'est un programme que nous essayons, que nous étudions. C'est pour ça qu'on collabore avec un local stakeholder. Et c'est en phase d'étude. Franchement, ce sera difficile de spécifier aujourd'hui, là maintenant, si c'est les techniques traditionnelles que nous avons avec l'apiculture normale, est-ce que ça marche? Pour le moment, j'ai l'impression que ce sont pratiquement les mêmes pratiques, la même méthodologie. Mais c'est en étude en ce moment et définitivement avec l'appui de cette apiculteur locale qui va nous aider à peaufiner un peu les différentes places parce que, comme on disait, l'année d'avant, on avait essayé, on avait commencé le projet et ensuite on a vu que la production n'était pas suffisante ou la qualité n'était pas adéquate et tout. Donc, on a bougé le site. Donc, c'est un peu le trial and error que nous faisons. Comme Marcus l'a mentionné, c'est peut-être définitivement pour les Seychelles, c'est la première fois. Je ne sais pas si à travers le monde, on a essayé quelque chose comme ça, mais c'est trial and error et à partir de là, on va continuer à peaufiner un peu notre méthodologie et pourquoi pas, peut-être bien développer un research paper dessus.
D'accord. Mais il y a une étude, en fait, il y a des études dans la littérature qui ont déjà été faites dessus?
Je n'ai pas recherché personnellement. Peut-être que ce sera une bonne approche, je vais essayer de le faire tout de suite après.
Merci, Javid.
Je t'en prie.
If I may add, no, just briefly to say, it's very important to know which type of mangrove you want to plant and in which area of the mangrove, because some plants, they like it more in the dry areas, in the sandy soil, some like it more wet, in the muddy soil. So this might be the first approach to see which area you have to rehabilitate, to use the right plants for it. So maybe there is some local research done about the different species in Comores or in your area to have the different habitat preferences. And then what we do the best is not to collect the seedlings.
Here we have 7 species.
We always take those who fall down in the mud and we collect those, because then the survival rate is much higher and they're less affected from crabs and other predators, let's say, that eat the seedlings. So the seeds that fall down in the mud or floating in the water and they're still strong and healthy, these ones we are collecting. And then the planting survival rate is the 80% easily, you know.
Okay. Thanks.
If you agree, Cassim and Marcus, si vous êtes d'accord, je peux vous mettre en contact. I can put you in contact so that you can exchange about all of the details.
Oui, pourquoi pas.
Great.
Très
Okay.
intéressant. Merci.
And before I go back to Ravi, we have a question from Lac Hôtel Saint-Bavi. Donc, je vais activer le micro and activate the camera. So, Maggie, I think you can speak now. You have to put your microphone and camera on. Et ben, en attendant, sinon, Ravi, maybe you can go ahead with your questions.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Just to add maybe on the mangrove, from my experience, based on previous project that we did, what also works well is avoiding planting propagules directly, but rather having the propagules growing in a nursery. Of course, it takes more time, it's more resource consuming, but the chances of survival is much higher because those propagules, when you affix them in the water directly with the wave actions already, the next day you have 80% of them, which is gone usually. So that's one thing I wanted to share. I had a question regarding the coral project. I'm so much interested into corals right now. You talked about the coating of, I think, sand and resin that you're putting on the coral frames. Are you getting any natural recruitment happening on the frames because of this coating, or is it stopping it? Because we were trying with galvanized and non-galvanized frames, and we saw that on non-galvanized frames, we were having more natural recruitment, which was happening there. on the frames? Thank you.
For all of our frames, so they are provided by Reefscaper, but we use a technique where you have the steel frame where we put the resin and sand. We do have recruitment on those frame. I don't know on which frame you're using and you try to see the recruitment. But we did also build some frame in-house where there were no resin and sand. And we also got some recruitment, but the resin and sand technique will also allow it for the iron not to release in the sea because it's also chemical and all. Sorry for the noise. But we do have recruitment on both. I didn't measure the difference between the one without the resin and sand and the one with it. But for the attachment, you have to have resin and sand because we will attach better on a frame with resin and sand. For recruitment, it's, I would say, up to them in a way. But yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all for me.
And for the mangroves, that's indeed the technique that we are using. So we have it in the nursery before transplanting it. And that's usually how we are able also to create an activity with the community, like inviting them to visit us and inviting them to transplant the mangroves so that they feel also they are part of the project.
Yeah, exactly. And you can plant all year round also because you have a nursery.
Exactly.
You don't have to wait for just the mangrove season.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so maybe Maggie from l'Hôtel Saint-Bave wants to ask some questions. So you have to put your microphone on, please. C'est raté. Là, c'était le... C'était pas le microphone on, c'était la caméra off. Normalement, c'est tout en haut, à droite. Et sinon, nous avons Nassur, Amada. So you can ask your question. I have activated your camera and
sorry,
microphone.
I will have to go. So it was a pleasure for me to share on Coral. If there's any more question, you can always contact me and send me an email or anything. It will be a pleasure for me to answer everything. Thank you for having me and listening to me. It was a pleasure to hear about the project and everyone.
Thank you very much, Vinita. It was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Vinita.
So maybe Nassur is Amada, are you... Non, peut-être que ça ne marche pas. Alors, Prakash, it's the last question and we will have to end this very interesting webinar. So the microphone is activated and the camera too for Prakash.
Yes, hi everybody.
Hi.
So that very nice initiative from CAP Business and from my colleagues in other islands, Javed, very good friend of mine. And I present myself. Hi, I'm Prakash, the president of NGO ADD, Association pour le Développement Durable. We have planted some 12 hectares of mangroves in Mauritius, and we have a project currently with the Varuna project, currently working with Odysseus for production of honey from mangroves. I can say that this is a very good initiative in terms of EBA with the hotels, especially, which are very concerned in the coast. And one thing that we are working on and we would like to collaborate with hotels and private sectors is the scientific part of the projects that we are doing, because if we are not able to provide scientific evidence about how it is affecting with time, whether it is positive or negative, with some modeling, it will be much more helpful to provide some new ideas or some policy making with regards to EBA, because it's a new research. We don't have 100% guarantee, that's for sure. And I must say that I'm glad to see all those projects that you are doing in terms of coral or mangroves. So hats off to you all. And it's also good to work with NGOs or other academia for research purposes so that you can back up your project that you are doing. So that's it from my side. Thank you.
So thank you for sharing that, Prakash. It's true we have been out of touch for a while now, and I wasn't aware that you have been having these kind of projects. But yeah, let's get in touch.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I will have to conclude this webinar. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks to everyone who made this webinar possible. So a huge thank to the Dr. Lee Roberts and Neeve Pariag-Maraye, because you conducted this demanding research. So thank you very much. And thank you very much to Javid, Marcus, and Vinita for this concrete and inspiring feedbacks. I will share the email of the speakers so that you can get in touch. I will also share to you the recording and the slides. So we'll have stuff to work on. For the next steps, we will launch the Science Business Network, which is a series of meetings between companies and researchers. And it was designed to strengthen synergies and sharing the expertise, and to create a dialogue. So I will enjoy if you can participate to this network. I will share with you all the informations. So thanks again to everyone who came to this webinar, and we'll keep in touch for the next steps. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you
again
very much,
Javid.
everyone.
this
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you very much, Javid.
Bye.
Thank you.
Merci.